So I had a follower send me in a really good question, and I wanted to take a minute and address it. So shout out to Sarah for this one. She said, why is it that these evangelical Christians embraced Donald and Melania Trump, but never embraced Jimmy and Rosalind Carter? And I said to her, that's a great question. I'm just going to need a minute to kind of think about that one, because that's something that I've thought about for years. And I've done content in the past where I've talked about how mind-boggling it was to sit back and watch the Christians I grew up and went to church with and the ministers I sat under turn around and embrace Donald Trump. To this day, it's still one of the most mind-numbing things that I've ever seen. Now, I know there's a lot of controversial parts in the Bible, and I make content about those things, but if you just get down to the very core teachings of Jesus Christ, the teachings of doing to others as you would have them doing to you, to treat other people the way that you would want to be treated, to feed the hungry, to clothe the naked, to give the thirsty something to drink, to do good to those who do bad to you, to turn the other cheek. Jimmy and Rosalind Carter spent a lifetime mirroring those teachings. They spent a lifetime living up to that Christian standard that Jesus Christ set. And we could talk all day long about Jimmy Carter's presidency. There's people out there that act like he's the worst president of all time. I don't think he was. I think people are very unfair to him. A lot of people say, well, he never fired a shot. That's a sign of weakness. And I've always argued, no. Actually, the fact that he could negotiate without having to fire a shot is actually a sign of strength. But we could talk about his presidency all day, or we could talk about the fact that after Jimmy Carter left office, he rolled up his sleeves and went to work for the American people and did more than any living former president has ever done to help with world peace, to help to build homes for people, to help people and lift them up. And he accepted that defeat against Reagan with grace and humility and helped Reagan, helped Bush, helped Clinton, helped Bush, helped every president that came after him. He never sat and played sore loser. He never sat and whined about any of it. He rolled up his sleeves and he went to work to help people and to mirror the teachings of Jesus, the man that he believed in. And meanwhile, you got Donald Trump, one of the most immoral dudes that ever walked the pike. He comes along and suddenly evangelicals love him and they embrace him. Now, I'm old enough to remember Bill Clinton being president. He was president back when I was in high school. And I know most of my listeners on here are my age or older. I look at the analytics, so I know you guys remember this too. Remember back when Clinton was in office, the entire time he was in there, they was constantly saying to us that we needed a good moral man to be in the White House. We needed someone with morals and values. And they said, Bill Clinton's immoral. He's a cheater. He cheated on his wife. And he's a womanizer. And he's a party animal. And he's all of these things. And we can't let him set examples for our children. We need somebody that set better examples for the children. And then they elected George W. Bush. And they told us, oh, he's a righteous and holy man. And we had to sit back and watch him lie to us and send my generation into a war based on lies and bullshit. And we had to sit and listen to them talk about how righteous and holy they were. And then along comes Donald Trump, and they embrace him hook, line, and sinker. And I will never forget, going back to the very first election I ever voted in, it was Bush and Gore in the year 2000. And I was talking to a family member of mine. I don't care if she sees this video. I don't care if it offends her, because I'm right. We're talking about the upcoming election, and she says, well, who are you going to vote for? And I was like, well, I'm voting for Al Gore. Oh, you shouldn't do that. You should really consider voting for George W. Bush, because he's a good moral man, and we need those morals and values back. And I said, yeah, but I think Clinton, I'm not condoning what Clinton has done, but I think he's been a good president. I think Gore was a good vice president, and I think he would make a great president. So I'm going to go this way. Oh, well, you can't do that now. You need somebody in there with morals and values. Fast forward to 2016. That same family member is sitting there talking with me about the upcoming election and says, we got to really get Trump in there. We can't have old Hillary back in there. And I'm like, yeah, but didn't you hear what Trump said about grabbing him by the pussy? Don't you know that Trump has cheated on every woman he's ever been with? Don't you know he's a womanizer and a party animal, and he's every bit as immoral, if not more immoral, than Bill Clinton? And she says to me, yeah, but see, what you got to realize is that sometimes God calls immoral people. I mean, God called King David, and God called the Apostle Paul, and he was murdering Christians. And I said to myself, well, she's in a cult. There's no reasoning with that bullshit. You can't. But that's the kind of shit that we've had to sit and listen to them say, and that's the kind of bullshit, glaring hypocrisy that we've had to see coming off of them. Then they'll turn around and they'll make Jimmy and Rosalind Carter the butt of every joke. Donald Trump was up joking about Carter the day before Rosalind died. Carter's in hospice. Carter's losing his wife. And Trump's out there laughing, and the whole crowd's laughing about how, oh, well, Carter loves Biden because, he's no longer the worst president. Everybody was having a good laugh. We've sat back and watched them demonize two really good people who mirrored the teachings of Jesus Christ and embraced people that was nothing like it. But to get to the point of Sarah's question, why did they do it? Why would they do that? Well, I think the answer is pretty much right in front of our face. Going back to something my family member said, well, God calls King David. She made an excuse for him. It's all about power. It's all about the Republican Party giving Christians the power to control everything. They will sell themselves out. They will go against their morals and their values. They will sell themselves out, and they will sell out fellow Christians who live it by the book. And they will embrace the most immoral people, all for that power. And there's absolutely nothing biblical about that. You read the teachings of Jesus, and he talks about don't lay up your treasures here on earth, but lay them up in heaven. Who laid up their treasures here on earth and who laid them up in heaven? Would it have been Carter or would it have been Trump? Trump built casinos. Trump built towers and hotels. Carter built homes for people to live in, rolled up his sleeves and drove the nails in himself. Carter laid up his treasures up there. But that don't matter to the evangelicals. They don't care because it's all about power and control. And when you see the government stripping away rights in the name of Christianity, they love it and they will embrace it and they will back it and they will sell out their beliefs. That family member that said that to me sold out the values that she tried to instill in me when I was younger. That she tried to say to me that's how she sold herself out, and I would never have any respect for her opinion about it ever again. And again, I don't care if she sees the video and gets pissed. So that's the answer to the question, and thanks to Sarah for sending it in. But I got one more question for all of these evangelical Christians out there. Was it worth it? Was it worth selling out your power and turning people away? You were supposed to win people over for Christ, not drive them away. Was gaining that power, was it really that important to you? Was it really that worth it? And why the hell couldn't you see the glaring hypocrisy coming off your beliefs? You want to talk about Paul being struck by a blinding light. How in the hell did the hypocrisy coming off Donald Trump not knock you to your damn knees?